Hi guys, DK here. Today I'm going to be taking you through a couple of interesting components in DKUI. The first one is a new update button, and the other is the set panel component. These actually work very well together, but maybe I'll actually cover the set panel component first. So, and then we can show that being used with the new update button. So I'm going to come down here and I'm just going to pull from utilities. I'm going to drop a set panel component and we can have a look at what we can do with this. So the first thing I'm going to need is some panels. So I'm going to need let's say couple on the input, and I'm going to need one to write to. So the first thing we need is a panel name, and I'm going to call this DK DK output panel. So this is so we need an identifier for this particular panel. And let's copy that into here. So that's our, and we can plug that into our panel name. So this is our destination panel with this naming here. Now it doesn't need this DK underscore in front of it. However, if we do that, this is good practice, because if we have that in the lead of this name here, this panel will get automatically saved in all of our save and load utilities. So that's just a little tip with this particular component. And I'm going to put something to go into that panel here, and we put that into the panel contents. Tidy this up a little bit, and then we just need a boolean to trigger this. So I'm just going to grab a button. So if we have that button on there, if I click this button, this content gets written into this panel. It's really as simple as that, and it's quite a nice utility. Well, because DKUI uses this named panels as key value pairs, or the keeper of state within the UI. This convenience or this utility allows sort of direct placing of text data into a panel without using any of the other DKUI components. But for this next for this next thing that we're going to look at, is we're going to look at the scenario when, say, with our UI here, we have these three controls, the X, Y, and Z control for the box. And as we adjust these, we get updated immediately with them. But maybe we have a scenario where we'd actually prefer to be able to adjust all three at once and then do a single update where all of those changes get filed through to the geometry in with one button press. So to that end, I'm going to look here. I'm going to change my view here. We've got these three inputs, the box X, Y, and Z. I am going to replace those inputs with three panels. So at the moment, we've got these ones. I'm going to replace the contents of these panels with our current these current values here, and we're going to call this x size confirm. Just needs a unique name here, but I'll copy this. And lastly, this one. Right, so these three named panels are now our would be our X, Y, and Z of, and let's go through and change this wired display to default on these, and we can wire these in, and we'll see no change in our user interface now, except none of this will work. So we've disconnected these controls from our user interface here. But what we can do is I'm going to convert back to icons because it's a little bit smaller. I'm going to grab this, Control, and give us 3 matching panels, and we're going to put in those panel names into here. I'm going to update this one to be Z. So now we have these panels set up to pass data from these to pass data into these 3 panels, and we'll go find our box X, Y, and Z. So it's these 3. These are the values that we'd like. We can bring those up to here. So we're going to put box X, box Y, and box Z into these 3 inputs, and just line all this up. So now currently this is 32, but this is 28 here. We can now press this button and we'll get an update. So I can change these, press the button, and we get an update. We can take these all down to their smallest size, press this button, and we'll get an update. So we now have the ability with this setup to have a confirmation button or something that will put it through. But what we will also need is our confirmation button does require some state. It does actually need to know some equality information. So I'm going to go equality. I'm going to pull in this and this. I'm going to pull in this and this. Oops, Wrong one. There we go. And I'm going to pull in this and this. So now these components, checking equality between those between these items. I'm going to feed this into, and what we actually need is the not equal. So if I scroll this now, that has an inequality on there. I'm going to feed this into an OR gate, and we can have a 3-input OR gate. So now we have a true on this output whenever these values don't match. So if I come back here now, that's false. Everything's matched up. So I'm going to put a Boolean component down, connect that up, and we'll now have that available. So we can group all this up, and we'll call this it's sort of state control gate might be the best way to call it. Control gate, and we'll label so we can see it. So there we have it. We now have the ability to control the state of these three controls. I am now going to grab this and move this down, and I'm going to add a new button in here, and this is the update button. So we need a page ID. Well, it's always good practice to have a page ID. So we're just going to plug in this page ID. And we'll go call this update box. Put that in. We have the label of what this will say when it's false, and we can say box up to date. We'll make sure that's so we're all up to date, and it says false. Yep, so it doesn't require an update. So box is up to date is our label when it's false. And we'll put it, this takes a color. We'll call this light gray because it'll just take standard HTML colors. So we can plug that in. We can now, in this one, we'll say click to update box. We'll plug that in, and we'll call this, and we can make this red and say we haven't updated. We need our value will go in here, and that will auto update for us. So there we go, and I won't need a tooltip, but I do need the status in here, and that's where we're going to cut this, paste this in here. We can put the status input in, and I'll just make that wire display hidden. So with all of that connected up, I would like to have this wired into these controls. And we need a Boolean output. Which would bring up to here. And we'll replace our button. Alright, so now with that all wired in, if I change any of these controls, now one of the problems with this is it will not work particularly well with live sliders. So if we just jump past each of our live sliders, this is not something you would actually want to have live sliders set up for, because it's kind of the opposite of a live slider. So we'll disconnect those, and now we can click update, and our box will change to the new results. So every time we change these, we'll come up red, and it will ask us to click. And once we click, it will pass all those values through. So yeah, there we have it, guys. That is the new this new DK update button, which has this ability to change colors based on its status, and also this write or set panel component, which allows you to transfer data directly into a panel. And this is one of probably many uses of this utility. Yeah, quite a nice way to set up the at least a few controls where you can change those controls and then give a visual indication to your user that those haven't been passed through to the model yet. As always, if you find these videos useful, or you are using DKUI for in your own workflows and find it useful, you can grab this by Dave Beer component, drop it onto the canvas, and that will open up your web browser and take you directly to this PayPal page, where you can tell me what DKUI is worth to you. Any donation is gratefully received, and certainly goes a long way to motivating me to keep updating this graphical user interface builder for Grasshopper and produce these videos. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments below this video, or you can track me down on the Rhino McNeels discourse. I'm known on there as Kiteboard Shaper. Thank you very much.